The concert is at St Mary and St John Church, which is very
Oh,
nice and cool
lovely.
on a day like today, if it ends up the
Nice.
same on Saturday. 7:30, that's along the Cowley Road.
Get radio breakfast with Rich Smith.
We're going to be finding out all about all things brass band, including championships, including concerts, and including National Brass Band Week. So who better to chat about that than Douglas Brown, who is a musical director of Oxfordshire Brass Band. Douglas, good morning to you.
Hi, Rich. Good to be here. Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us on a swelteringly hot morning as well. I much appreciated. Well, look, where do we start? Lots of things going on that are great and wonderful with the brass band. We've got championships coming up in September. We've got concert this weekend, and also this week is National Brass Band Week. First and foremost, tell us all about sort of your involvement as a musical director, and obviously what this week means to you.
Well, yeah. So again, thanks to be here. So I'm one of the conductors at City of Oxford Silver Band. We're actually a whole community organisation. So we've got a beginners band, training band, community band, and then a concert and competition band, which is the one that I'm the conductor for. And Brass Band Week is this week put on by Brass Bands England to sort of raise awareness of brass bands, because there's a huge amount of brass banding going along around the country, but especially maybe in this part of the country, outside of sort of Yorkshire and Wales, you're maybe not quite so aware of what's going on. And very tactically, we've lined up a summer concert with that week. We've got a concert on Saturday evening, 7:30. In Oxford, just to get that plug in early for you there.
That's a very early plug, but I like it. Thanks for that. We'll get more details on that in a second, but absolutely for sure. But just in terms of your interest in this, into sort of conducting, which is, I think, from an outsider's point of view and sort of looking in, is a fascinating way to be involved in music. How was your kind of journey to sort of being a conductor?
Yeah, it's a funny sort of thing to watch from the outside. You don't really quite. What can you possibly be doing? So I started at university, and the conductor left the brass band I was in, and they said, "Well, someone's got to do it." And I said, "Okay, go on then, fine. I'll do it for a week." And then actually, it's quite good fun. Partly because you get to pick what you play. Which if you're a player, you wouldn't necessarily, but no, it's really good fun. It really it's so rewarding. You start off at the start of term, and you've got 20 different bits of music, and you can't quite play them, and then you're working away at it, and you're bringing everyone together, and you've got a nice finished thing at the end. It's really satisfying, and you're of course bringing everyone along with you at the same time.
And am I right in saying, sort of in terms of a conductor, and I'm gonna put this down to like the lowest common denominator, so I'm going to apologise in advance for this. Being a conductor, almost a little bit like a football manager, i.e., you're in control of your players, and also you bring your own style, you bring your own kind of energy, you bring your own thoughts and kind of where you want to take things. This is coming from a complete novice point of view, so
Yeah, no, I think that's a good
I'm
comparison. Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. Definitely, you can have rehearsals doing the same music led by different conductors, and there's different sort of flavor, different sort of perspective on the music. And then you are sort of not to sort of make it sound too boring, but sort of personnel management. You're sort of making sure everyone's happy. If there's problems, you're sorting them out. You're sort of, it's leading a team, and like the football, you say, yeah. And like the football, you brought up the national championship. So brass bands are weirdly competitive, unlike orchestras or rock bands, say. But so each year we all compete, and it's a bit like the football league. There's different leagues. We go up, go down, and we've actually done very well this year for the first time in quite a few years. We're going to the national finals in September, which is very, very exciting. It's been 10 or maybe 20 years since we've got through to the national finals, so that's our other sort of big thing we're working towards at the moment.
Well, that's hugely exciting, and since we touched on that, it must be incredible for you leading everyone, but also amazing for all of everyone in the orchestra to kind of have that buzz and the excitement of going to a national championships. It seems like the harmony's working. A great, again, to use a football analogy, a great team working together and performing well.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of work that goes into it. You have all these bands in the same room and they play the same piece one after the other, and you're sort of judged blind. And if you're on, 17th out of 20, you've heard these 17 quite good performances, and then you're number 17, you're right, okay, we're on. We've got to be 1% better than everyone else. And actually, as I say, this year we did really well. We put a lot of work in. And it's a real, exactly as you say, like the football, good comparison. It's real team sport.
I'm sorry, I was so fascinated with that because literally playing the same piece of music and judged on it. In terms of
Yeah.
that, is that making sure? I'm trying to put myself now into a judge's position and kind of going. So if let's say for example you went 20th or something out of all of them, and you'd seen a performance that was 95%, is
Yeah.
there something that you can do to make it 100% or different, or kind of go, actually, I'm going to need you to do this, or is it just got to be
Yeah.
absolutely perfect? Every note's got to be bang on in time. There's got to be no slip ups. Is it almost that kind of thing? No slip ups.
Yeah, it's all in the preparation, really. You don't want to be changing things on the day.
True.
So it's
Yes.
all in the preparation. And I mean, sometimes these things are a bit arbitrary. The judges might just prefer this way of doing this particular tune rather than this, another way. And so, if the conductor of one band has picked a slightly different interpretation compared to another, then, so be it. But yeah, it's all the work that comes beforehand, and then hopefully on the day it just happens.
Brilliant stuff.
In an ideal world.
In an ideal, of course. Sorry, I was just genuinely fascinated, kind of, being judged on the same piece.
Yeah, it's a whole world that you wouldn't know that necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of that whole world that we don't know that is potentially out there, and hence why we're having this chat and a conversation, and I'm sure that there's people that are picking up instruments sort of left, right, and centre across the county. In terms of what you do and kind of everything that's happened, you mentioned that you've got sort of entry level people that maybe have just started out up to sort of competition level, people who've been playing for a long time, I gather. Where can people find out more information about you and kind of like maybe look into it a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can look us up, City Box with Silver Band or cosb.co.uk. Yeah, we have the whole spectrum. So we have a beginners band made up, people pretty much just starting off, and it's not just kids, it's adults as well, which is really nice to see, and it's really unusual to get that, I think, in a community sort of setup. It's very rare you have sort of kids and adults all playing kind of on the same playing field, as it were. We also have sort of learners individual classes, and then I say beginners band, and then sort of step up training band, and then a community band who you might have seen out and about at fetes, village fairs, carols at Christmas, all that sort of thing. But there's it's really good opportunity to get involved in, and we do keep it as affordable as possible. It really is a lot less than school music lessons might be. So if you want to play something like the tuba, which will set you back £5,000, actually a few quid a month, and the band has all the instruments. It's an opportunity you can't actually get very easily in a lot of places.
Again, I didn't know a tuba would cost £5,000, but thank you.
It's horrifying. Yeah.
That is horrifyingly expensive. Wow, incredible. And just a little bit more on this weekend's concert, because it's a very special week, and we love sort of shining a light on kind of different facets and different areas of the wonderful Oxfordshire community that maybe people don't know quite as much about as they should do. And this is a case in point. Where's the concert going to be? Where can people find out more info about that?
Yeah, so the concert is at St Mary and St John Church, which is very nice and cool. Lovely. On a day like today, if it ends up the same on Saturday. 7:30, that's along the Cowley Road. You RSVP on the website, pay on the door. You can just look up cosb.co.uk, and it will be the first thing on there, I think. And yeah, there we go.
Lovely stuff. Well, look, best of luck for everything in September, and do come back on and let us know how it went, because I'm absolutely fascinated by this. I'm sort of learning myself so much about what's happening, which is
brilliant,
great and wonderful.
Oh, that's what we're here for.
And just to finish on a football analogy, as we've kind of sort of tailored it through the conversation, don't be a Man United football manager in that competition. Just do anything but that, and that comes from a fan. Douglas, thank you ever so much for joining us this morning. It's been a real pleasure.
Thanks very much. Pleasure to be with you. Have a good rest of the morning.
Enjoy. Thank you so much. Douglas Brown, their musical director, of course, and find out more about the wonderful brass bands that are taking place. Just literally search for Oxfordshire Brass Band, and Douglas as well comes up in all the searches. Trust me, I've just done it. It's great stuff. Fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating.